Historic event and really an ongoing event for the next couple of days. Can you tell me how the city is preparing to deal with this situation worsening, perhaps?
Well, we know that it's going to be a 4 or 5 day event. We knew that from the beginning, and the plan that was put in place was, number one, to encourage people to stay off the street, and not just to stay off the street for the first day, but stay off the street over the course of 4 or 5 days, because more people are injured or they lose their lives when they get on the street. We asked people to prepare and make sure that you had food, water, medicine, all of the essential things that you needed, so that you didn't have to go to the store, you didn't have to venture out. I want to thank many Houstonians that acted accordingly, and we appreciated that. We knew there was going to be a lot of flooding, and so the plan was to try to set up some shelters ahead of time just in case they needed, and then to position Metro buses close to it so that we wouldn't be in panic mode. And we did that on last night. And, of course, the Mo Campbell and that northeast sector, that worked extremely well. Today we knew that if it was going to be flooding across the city, we needed a much larger shelter, and that's why we opened up the George R. Brown along with the others, and we wanted to make sure that we get as close. With regards to the severity of the flooding, we now have people, for example, who are in their homes. Some have gone to the attics, and let me add, I never recommend that you go to the attic. Some are on their roofs, and so we have obtained additional high water vehicles and equipment that have come into our city today, 20 additional high water vehicles that we have distributed across the city of Houston that is helping out. For example, there are 10 additional, in addition to the city's assets, 10 additional high water vehicles that have been deployed around I-45 and Edgebrook, 5 additional high water vehicles at Station 34 off of Laura Copy, 5 additional high water vehicles at Station 21, which is in the South Main area, and we're waiting on 40 additional boats that are coming from Louisiana, and hopefully those boats will be coming sometime today, first thing in the morning. And then TxDOT, the Texas Department of Transportation, is providing us with 10 additional high water vehicles as well. So, you never know the extent. This has been historic. We can always use more boats. We can always use more high water vehicles. And the goal is to try to get people off the roofs, out of their attics, out of their homes where there's a lot of flooding, as many of them as we can while it is daylight before nightfall, so that they can be more at ease and we can lower their stress level and put them in a safer, dry environment. And so the first responders, police, fire, the municipal workers are working extremely hard to be out there to try to respond to these 911 calls as quickly as possible to put people in a better place.
Now, Mayor Turner, I know you've addressed this, but I do have some viewers writing into me as we speak, asking again about why this was not a mass evacuation incident, why the call was for people to stay where they are. Can you speak to that again?
Certainly. And County Judge Emmett and I are on the same page on this on the decision not to evacuate. Number one, as everyone knows, no one knew the direction that Hurricane Harvey was going to go. No one knew whether or not it was going to come to Houston, whether or not it was going to go to Corpus Christi, Rockport. No one knew. And once it landed, no one knew the direction in which it was going to go. And so you cannot evacuate 6.5 million people when you don't know which danger or where the danger is that you're evacuating from. And then what we have learned in past experience, for those of us who were here when the city did evacuate, you can recall it was very chaotic. It was very confusing. You had people who were on the road 10 to 12 hours just trying to get to Austin. They were running out of gas. When you do an evacuation of a city the size of the city of Houston and Harris County, it has to be very well thought out, very organized. You have to make preparations early. Otherwise, you will be putting more people in danger. It will be more serious. and you can have more people hurt or even losing their life. For us, for the people in Houston and Harris County, we were not in the direct aim of the hurricane. For us, it was always going to be a rain event. And the best way to approach this particular hurricane for Houston and Harris County was to encourage people to stay off the road, make the necessary preparations, get your food, your medicine, all the things that you need, bunker down, stay in your house, or stay at your apartment, but do not get on the street. And if we had sent people away, if they went to Austin, there was plenty of rain in Austin. If they went to San Antonio, they were going to be met with plenty of rain in San Antonio. So the safest thing to do for 6.5 million people was to tell them to hunker down, prepare for a lot of rain, recognizing that we are facing a historic amount, but I don't want to see any loss of life. But at this point, I only know of two. And we are attending to the needs of people who have been caught in these high waters.
All right, our Houston Mayor, Sylvester Turner, obviously you are very busy and we appreciate your time. Please keep us updated. If anything changes, any new information, we would love to talk back with you shortly.
Well, thank you. And if I can say this, I want to thank Houstonians because it's not just about what the city can do, about what police officers can do, or the firefighters can do. I want to thank Houstonians, neighbors who are looking after neighbors. I want to thank Good Samaritans. I want to thank nonprofits and everyone else for stepping in. In a crisis of this kind, I think you see Houston at its very, very best. People have come together. Absolutely, it is stressful, but I'm a firm believer that as we deal with this situation, we will come out of it as a much stronger and a much better city. And I am so proud to be a Houstonian.
Thank you so much, Mayor Sylvester Turner with the City of Houston.
Thank you.
Now, as you just heard there, he addressed why Houston did not evacuate, referring to the complexity of the storm forecast and that it was unsure whether Houston was going to get a direct hit or not. He said the safest thing for 6.5 million people, in his opinion and in the opinion of city officials, was for us to hunker down and stay put. He also addressed people stepping up, how impressed he is with how the city and the community has stepped up for one another.